It is now time to introduce one of CUTC's most prestigious awards, the CUTC Lifetime Achievement Award for Transportation Professional and Public Service. This award honors individuals who have contributed immensely throughout their professional and public lives to transportation research and education. This year, CUTC is happy to present the award to Mr. Alan Byler. Al has a long and distinguished career of professional and public service. He served as Secretary of the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, as well as having a lengthy career of service at the Pittsburgh Region Port Authority of Allegheny County Transit Agency. He has been president of AASHTO and a member of the executive committee of both APTA and TRB. After finishing his appointment as Pennsylvania's Secretary of Transportation in 2011, he became a distinguished service professor at Carnegie Mellon University and served as executive director of CMU's Traffic 21 Institute. Al is richly deserving of the award, and we have asked that he provide some comments. Thank you. Al?
Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Al Beeler. Just before Christmas, I got an email from Tracy Ohlberg telling me that the Executive Committee and the Awards Committee for CUTC have just selected me for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Really? Really? Wow, I was bowled away. Tracy also asked me to give a few remarks if I would, and I said, well, sure, I'd be happy to. It's made me think back about, only about 50 years of my career and maybe pick out a couple of highlights that might be germane. I was a civil engineering student at the University of Pittsburgh and answered a little post-it note that says there was a transportation planning job at the City of Pittsburgh Planning Department, and that's how I got my start in transportation planning. I also worked for the Port Authority of Allegheny County and the county of Allegheny, but let me just tell you about a couple of those. By the way, in between, I did graduate work at Yale University and was really lucky to be able to have context with a traffic engineering course, but also city planning course, which just gave me a little better balance. When I worked at Port Authority, it was a special time for me. At Port Authority, there was a guy who was special that you folks know, and his name is Bill Millar. He was a great believer in research. And oh, by the way, speaking of research, one of the things that Port Authority was famous for was its Access program. It was a program that was part of a research project at Carnegie Mellon University. It was adopted as a pilot project at Port Authority. And oh, by the way, it became a national model for transportation of persons with disabilities. So it was really, for me, an eye-opener in the importance of research, and also I got acquainted with things like the American Public Transit Association and what they were doing, and ultimately TRB and so forth. Again, things that you folks know a lot about. After Port Authority, I was recruited to work at a place called, around a project called Tran-SET, and that means urban train, and that was in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I worked for an international consulting firm. A couple of things special about Tran-SET. I was charged with doing preliminary engineering and leading a team. And oh, by the way, there was an urban planning group that was very much part of that. It really made sense to think about the impacts of what you're doing. Another special element of TRB was a special program between MIT and the University of Puerto Rico. It was the brainchild of a guy named Fred Salvucci. Fred was not only a professor at MIT, but also secretary of Massachusetts DOT. And it was a partnership that he had with the secretary at the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico to basically educate folks and let them work on a job at Tran-SET. So there was talk about technology transfer. It was really a great example. From that point, I went and worked for the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, where I was secretary for 8 years. A couple things at PennDOT. I helped to initiate a program called Smart Transportation. And oh, by the way, as you probably know, modern PennDOT was as a result of the good work of Dr. Tom Larson. Tom was a Penn State professor, a great guy, and ultimately moved on to be the Federal Highway Administrator. Anyway, at PennDOT, I started something called Smart Transportation. Basically, it was to try to figure out how to design highways and make them fit into the context of wherever it was. whether it was a rural area, a suburban area, urban area. And we really had to pay attention to money and also really the function of those kinds of things. So it was a real learning experience. And it took a while, but it really caught on. In fact, other heads of state DOTs had some interest. And as a result, I ended up helping to co-found something called the State Smart Transportation Initiative, which is housed at the University of Wisconsin and still is operating, I'm proud to say, and it has made a difference. Clearly, at PennDOT, I was thrown into a national conversation, lots more work with transportation research, Bob Skinner and John Horsley at AASHTO, as well as Bill Millar, then at APTA, by the way. You know, as I look back over this career, I was thinking that at the end of PennDOT, well, that's it, I'm done. Well, and then I was introduced to Carnegie Mellon University, and I got excited all over again. I ended up working with a guy named Rajkumar and Chris Hendrickson, who again, I'm sure you folks know. And it was all about tech transfer and working with local partners like PennDOT and the Parking Authority and the City of Pittsburgh. It just made a difference. And, you know, I think the sum, when I just kind of look back at this, what I see is the use of education and technology transfer throughout my whole career. I guess I didn't really realize it. So I would encourage you folks at the university centers around the United States, boy, keep doing what you're doing. It just makes a difference. Thanks so much for this award. I cherish it.
The CUTC-ARTBA Lifetime Achievement Award for Transportation, Education, and Research is given in recognition of the contributions made by someone from within the CUTC community who, over their lifetime, has dedicated themselves to advancing university transportation research and education on a daily basis. This year, the award is presented to Dr. Andrew Farkas. Dr. Farkas is a recently retired professor of transportation at the Morgan State University, MSU, who is director of MSU's National Transportation Center, past president of CUTC from 2004 to 2005, and dedicated his entire career to educating the next generation of transportation professionals at a historically Black research university since the 1980s. Furthermore, he advanced technology, conducted impactful research, and emphasized equity through pioneering internship programs for students. His research regularly engaged and assisted traditionally underserved communities in the surrounding Baltimore area. Through his past accomplishments, his innovative research on connected vehicles that will certainly leave a lasting impact on the future of transportation, and many other programs he helped develop for students to get them started in the transportation industry, I believe Dr. Farkas exemplifies lifetime achievement. Dr. Farkas is well known within the transportation and CUTC community for all his past and continuing contributions to university transportation research and education. We are pleased to extend our highest honor to Dr. Andrew Farkas.
Good evening. I may be on a trip when you're seeing this, but if it gets canceled, then I'm also with you live. We'll see what happens. I am very sincerely grateful for this honor. I told the committee that over the years I enjoyed greatly seeing people that I respected and admired receive this award. To now be one of them is very gratifying and humbling. I started out as a researcher for the Georgia Department of Transportation under Governor Jimmy Carter, by the way. After furthering my education I took a job with the U.S. Forest Service in Atlanta as a transportation economist, conducting analyses of infrastructure projects and teaching engineering economy to forest personnel. After being promoted to Washington, D.C., I realized that I wanted an academic career after all. So I took a position offered by Mogus Ayeli at Morgan State University, an HBCU. Many of you know Mogus. He had created a small but robust research program, an MS in transportation. We later participated in the UTC program, and I was the UTC director there. We consistently chose economic opportunity and equity as our theme. And as an educator at an HBCU for 36 years, I retired a couple of years ago. I'm proud of what my colleagues and I did to offer a graduate education, including internship opportunities, to those who have been underrepresented in the areas of transportation research, planning, and management. I learned in grad school that basic research leads to applied research, which can and should support sound public policy. When I served on the Maryland Governor's Electric Vehicle Council, our research showed that the state was subsidizing affluent households to buy EVs, even though the subsidy was not that important to the purchasing decision. Yet because the vehicle price threshold was too high, the state pot of money devoted for the subsidy was quickly depleted. I recommended a lower price threshold so that more modest income households could benefit before depletion. Politics influenced the final result. There are many equity related research questions. A recent Washington Post article showed that there are EV charging deserts in minority areas of Chicago. What factors contribute to such deserts? What are the costs and benefits of financially supporting autonomous technologies for new entry-level vehicles versus a high-end used vehicle trickle-down approach to safety for low-income households? What benefits from fare-free transit? Or who benefits from fare-free transit that doesn't distinguish by income or trip length? We understand the benefits of round-the-clock supply chains, but what impacts occur to neighborhoods around ports, terminals, and retail locations? The students know that this is an exciting time to be doing transportation research, but I hope you realize that your research and future endeavors could improve people's lives directly. Again, I thank you. I congratulate all award recipients, and I wish you all a successful and safe TRB meeting. I wanted to leave you with a little transportation humor at the appropriate time, but not during the banquet. Please take a look at the following. Thank you.
We will now be presenting our 4 CUTC Professional Leadership Awards. The first award is the CUTC Cambridge Systematics New Faculty Award, which is given annually to a tenure-track faculty member in transportation education. The award's purpose is to recognize outstanding teaching and research contributions to the transportation field. The second award is the CUTC-ARTBA Administrative Leadership Award, which is given annually to an individual in a staff position or non-tenure-track faculty position in support of administration of a CUTC institution transportation center. The award recognizes outstanding administrative leadership contributions to the transportation field by a non-academic appointee. The third award is the CUTC Technology Transfer Leadership Award, which recognizes outstanding leadership in designing and delivering technology transfer programs. The fourth and final award is the CUTC Workforce Development Leadership Award, which recognizes outstanding leadership in designing and delivering workforce development programs. And now I'm proud to introduce the 4 award winners.
My name is Neda Masoud, and I'm an assistant professor of civil and environmental engineering at the University of Michigan. It is my honor to be the recipient of the CUTC Cambridge Systematics New Faculty Award this year. I'm very grateful to CUTC and Cambridge Systematics for their support of junior faculty in their professional development. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank my dear colleagues, Henry Liu and Yafeng Yen, not only for nominating me for this award, but also for being great mentors and for their unwavering support over the past 5 years at the University of Michigan.
Good evening. I'm Stan Caldwell, Executive Director of the Mobility 21 National UTC at Carnegie Mellon University, and I deeply appreciate this CUTC Award for Administrative Leadership. This is especially gratifying coming from my friends and colleagues at CUTC, and knowing the respected leaders who have received this award in the past. I'd like to acknowledge my partner in running our UTC, Lisa K. Schweier, who has been a consummate teammate in elevating our operation to a level worthy of this recognition. I must also recognize our program manager, Robin Klein, and the other staff at USDOT who graciously respond to our many inquiries and proactively work to navigate the bureaucracy, giving us the latitude to innovate. And finally, I'd like to highlight the camaraderie of the CUTC family, which impressed me when I first joined over a decade ago. For example, one of our most valuable tools in administering our UTC is the project database, which was shared by Portland State's Track National UTC. And the national UTC summits we host only succeed with the participation of many other UTCs. Although we compete for grants, CUTC members openly support each other, unite in the defense and promotion of the UTC program, and advance a shared vision of success for our collective students and researchers in advancing the goals of USDOT. I look forward to continuing this tradition of sharing what we have learned in support of our fellow UTCs. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I am Lisa K. Schweier, Program Manager for the Mobility 21 National UTC at Carnegie Mellon University. I sincerely want to thank the CUTC Board for recognizing Carnegie Mellon with the 2021 Technology Transfer Leadership Award. Our UTC has institutionalized the philosophy of research, development, and deployment into a consortium consisting of 180 public, private, and nonprofit partners who work with our faculty and students to identify real-world transportation problems, cooperatively develop research plans, and deploy research in the field. We are proud to say that since 2020, we have also incorporated equity partners to assure each UTC research project begins with equity as well as deployment in mind. These partnerships have been critical in assuring impact of our research, including 6 spin-off companies, one of which our director, Raj Kumar, founded, evolving over time into the automated vehicle company Motional, employing over 300 people in Pittsburgh. The company highlighted in our nomination was Robotics, which spun out of Dr. Christoph Mertz's UTC research applying AI video analytics to help communities efficiently and inexpensively detect and manage road surface condition. Robotics has been deployed in over 250 communities in 34 states and 14 countries. We thank the US DOT and the Hillman Foundation for the research and tech transfer funding, staff of the CMU Tech Transfer Office, and the UTC for mentoring our deployment partners for real-world applications, the faculty and students for their entrepreneurial spirit and years of commitment to transfer a research idea into a commercial enterprise impacting the world. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mustafa El Sefi, Occidental Chemical Corporation professor at LSU. I'm also the Associate Director of Tran-SET UTC in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Our whole Tran-SET family is humbled and grateful by the recognition and the awards that we receive. Since 2016, we have developed and implemented a strong workforce development program that is able to create and to support the next generation of transportation leaders by conducting cutting-edge research activities and getting the students from diverse backgrounds to participate and to learn from these activities. We are able to create the next generation of transportation leaders. Our Native American transportation internship puts our students in meaningful jobs by providing support for transportation students from Tran-SET partnering universities to travel to LSU and to work on-site on select transportation-funded research projects. We also jointly host a webinar series with rotating university transportation centers. These webinars cover emerging transportation topics to advance the transportation workforce and make them aware of the fast-growing technology. In addition to the webinar, we host seminar series to bring transportation industry leaders together with faculty, staff, and students on campus. This provides the students with direct experience on the topics that they are learning about. Tran-SET offers internships to engage high-achieving high school students in real research in the field of transportation engineering. In addition to their work on a research team project, the students attend workshops that include training on safety, research best practice, ethics in research, and communication. Tran-SET also engage high school students in transportation research by collaborating with high schools to participate in STEM events. In these events, Tran-SET presents high school students how concrete and asphalt are made, used in roadways, and how Tran-SET research is improving this material. In addition to these activities, every Tran-SET PI is required to provide seminars or webinars at the end of the implementation phase to provide a complete description of all implementation activities conducted and any education and workforce development products that were developed during the implementation phase.